It's my pleasure today also to be after our first panel, where we have presented the secrets of the made in Morocco products. It's my pleasure to present one of our best experts in Morocco, Miss Raja Etbil Hussein, who's the director and the managing partner of Nerolim Laboratory. He's actually one of the best experts in oil and cosmetics industry in our country. Please welcome Raja.
Thank you, Adil. I'm flattered, treated as one of the best experts in Morocco. So grateful. Dear audience, thank you so much for being here today. I would like to thank the Moroccan organization for such a great work and our brothers and sisters from Emirates for such a huge event. And honestly, happy to be part of this event today. My first presentation today will be about the natural resources in Morocco. As we all know, this is one of the countries where the biotope is so diverse and underused so far that the whole governmental effort when it comes to medicinal herbs goes to identifying, evaluating, then informing and selling and using it in cosmetics. So what I would like to say for this presentation is a few words about every ingredient, at least the ones that are most used in the cosmetic products and field, and talk about what are the perspectives and the opportunities for the future ingredients. If you could launch the, thank you. So, first of the list is argan oil and co-products. As we all know, this is not an ingredient to introduce anymore. It's one of the most marketed oils in the past 15 years. This has started with a few brands from France, but in fact, since centuries, the Moroccan women have used the argan oil in their kitchens, in their weekly hammams, in their hair and skin therapy. But since 10 years ago, or a little more, we have started to treat this ingredient as a real source of antioxidants, of extraordinary preserved fatty acids, and as a well-preserved source of emollients for skin. So that's really what's the most important part about it in cosmetics. As we all know, argan oil is the primary resource income for plenty of women communities and cooperatives. So what we do in Morocco now is, aside from working along with these women cooperatives, is evaluating and also using the oil and the co-products. So this is where technology that we're going to talk about in the next presentation is happening. Is we're not just using the oil and that's it. Now we know that there is more to it than just the oil. The second resource we're going to talk about is the hemp oil. Hemp oil is the oil that we can obtain from the plant, from weed. In cosmetics, there is a regulation that allows the use of it under a certain percentage of CBD. So today in Morocco, we can extract the oil and use it in cosmetic products for different benefits. The third resource is barbarian fig oil, which is the oil that we obtain from the little granules in the barbarian fruit. The fourth one is the rose. As you all know, the area of Mgouna is very known for the Rosa Damascena. It's a typical Moroccan rose that gives a very specific smell. It's very strong and it's very exclusive for the perfumery industry. Then rosemary, which is an aromatic herb which can be used in cooking, in cooking and in pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. Oregano, artemisia, saffron. For those who know saffron, it's for cooking. Now we can use it as well in cosmetics. Actually, we do use it in cosmetics. It's one of the strongest resources of antioxidants. So the strong color that gives to the food is actually molecules that will prevent oxidation. Clays. You probably all heard of the rasoul. It's a Moroccan ritual for hammam. We use it for envelopments for body and face and also for hair. And this is one of the biggest, one of the strongest Moroccan ingredients in cosmetics. Olive oil and olive co-products. Orange blossom oil, water, and essential oil and co-products. Verbena, oil, water, essential oil. Mint starts from the Moroccan mint tea all through to the essential oils and floral waters. Geranium, and last but not least, honey. The way how I thought this presentation is really interactive because I could stand here and talk for hours about the composition, the chemicals, there is this, that, and the benefits and potential sources, but really it's not interesting. What I would love from you guys is to give me your output. One, which of the ingredients would you like to know most about, and I will answer your questions along the workshop. Yes, argan oil is a very, what we call balanced oil. Balanced oils as in the composition in unsaturated fatty acids, saturated fatty acids, polyunsaturated fatty acids, and monounsaturated fatty acids. These barbarian names is for a thick texture, a light texture, it's solid at room temperature, it's liquid at room temperature. What makes all these people get together and not turn into something that stinks is antioxidants. So this is the unsaponifiable part of an oil. What makes an oil interesting is this balance between all these components, the proportion of antioxidant molecules, and another category of molecules which makes it it's a further, as far as argan oil, for instance. I know that there is one big firm, a drug firm in Morocco, who's working on that fraction, which is neither the fatty acids nor the antioxidants, which has a further effect. But to answer your question, yes, definitely. It's a very balanced oil, so it has a very long shelf life without the addition of any preservatives. It is an antioxidant. It will give enough emollients to the hair, so it will wrap up the hair fiber, and it will give the shininess and the strength that we're looking for when we do hair bath oils. Should we pick another one?
Thank you. I was wondering, for the honey now, do you use the stingers or stingless bee honey?
Do you use?
So you have the stingless bee honey produced by the stingless bees, and then you have the honey from the stingers, the Africanized one and the one that really sting you.
Not quite sure I understood your question. So
the type of bees, you have different type of bees producing honey.
Yeah.
So what is the preference in this line of work? Do you?
To be honest, I'm not a specialist of honey, but the lab 6 months ago had a couple of women come into them. One of them is a client, an ex-client of the lab, and the other one is the new partner, who happens to be a bee owner, agriculture, yeah, apiculteur. And they are launching a line of cosmetics based on different type of honeys that they grow. When I met these two women, I learned that actually, depending on the honey, where the bees actually ate, the honey will have a different composition, different effects, and can be used for different cosmetic products and purposes. Some will be higher on growth factors, others will have more antioxidants, others will be more interesting for disinfection, for instance. So I'm like, okay, guys, I have so many things to play with now. So I believe we have different types of honeys, if that answers your question. As I know, we have rosemary honey, multi-flowers honey, orange blossom honey, le drmos, euphorbia honey. And for instance, euphorbia honey is really great for regeneration, la cicatrisation, for skin healing, let's say. So yes, you can find all these ones. Not to list this client, but they worked on technology as far as producing honey, and they have honeys with bees that went on flowers not treated with pesticides. So they treat their bees with essential oil, so you are sure, and they don't give any sugar to the bees, as opposed to most honey producers. Can we pick another one, please?
No, I think you've answered the question well. I was just going to explain a bit more about the bees. Like, of course, most bees do sting. So that some bees are very docile. Like the European bee is rarely aggressive, while the African bee is very, very aggressive. But also, there is what they call the stingless bee. They build their hives in the ground. And the honey, you could think it's diluted with water, but it's our own special kind of honey. So there's quite a bit around the world of bees and all the things they can also do depending on, what type of bee that is. Maybe that's why she was going with that kind of question. Yeah, but
Nature is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm a bit of a fan of all things nature. And that's quite exciting because we're looking to see how we can build up that own world for us in Uganda, also to see that we really develop our cosmetics to this kind of level, because we have lots of clays. Maybe my question would be around the clays, because I don't know how you determine what clay does what, because we have some volcanic areas in the country, but so far, I think apart from maybe making earthenware, like for the kitchen, we've not done anything with our clay in terms of cosmetics. I wonder, how does one do discovery around clays in cosmetics?
That's a really interesting question, by the way, because most of the uses are either empirical or technological findings. But I believe that history of human use is stronger than any studies. As far as clays, our scientific way of approaching it is definitely by studying the profile of the composition of the clay. Which kind of minerals does it contain? How is the spherical shape of the clay on a molecular level? That will give us, first, how rich is it, how toxic it could be, and also whether it will be more interesting for absorbing excess oil or making a surfacing and resurfacing effect on the skin and closing the pores. So this is pretty much how we will sort of like categorize the clays. But majorly, clays are either white, red, green, or something around these colors. This will be determined by the percentage of iron, of zinc, of magnesium, and of calcite. So this is as far as the minerals. The white clays will have a smaller spherical shape, and that will sort of, and it's more astringent, so it will absorb more and close the pores more. So this is why we will tend to talk about white clays for sensitive skin to close pores, the green ones to absorb more excess oil for oily skin will also tighten the skin. But pretty much clays are equivalent. Now the amount of minerals that each clay contains, and this is the ground because of all the stuff that happened in that area, volcanoes, minerais, sources of mines, and that will give the composition. In the Moroccan tradition of cosmetics, clays are not used plain. Most clays are washed, dried, regrounded, melted with essential oils, with grounded dried herbs, with floral waters. So the clay actually becomes a vehicle of a skin ritual more than an ingredient itself. With time gone, we have learned that, okay, well, the clays are not just a vehicle, they will also help to resurface and work on either hair or skin surface. May I talk about the olive oil and olive co-products? All right. Olive oil, vegetable oil used in gastronomy for cooking, for eating plain with salads. It's a great oil. Yet very interesting for skin emollients, hydration, for hair emollients and hydration. And most important, or at least as far as the quantity used, is the co-products. As you all know, the black soap, Moroccan black soap, I think most of us are familiar with. It's very high in hammams and spas outside of Morocco. And this is made mainly out of the olive oil co-products. Basically, we take the olives, take the oil, that's the cold pressed, that's the actual oil we eat. There is a second press that could be used for other agro-industrial uses. And there is the leftover, which also contain fatty acids. It's just that the acidity is so high.
Alors l'acidité est très haute, qui ne peut pas être acceptée dans le repas. Et il y a des produits qui sont mélangés avec le potassium pour donner le savon qui est léger, qui n'est pas très solide, mais il n'est pas aussi liquide. La partie la plus importante est qu'il est très alcaline, pas de toxicologues qui vont dire allez-y, mais c'est le secret qui rend la peau efficace. Ici, le secret des bénéfices de traitement pour la peau dans les hammams marocains, car ça rend le pH de la peau différent et cela rend l'aspect alcaline de la peau plus réceptif à ce produit. Il y a aussi ce qui s'appelle au Maroc le zhar. Il y a ce rituel qui est utilisé dans la réception de certains invités, surtout dans le mariage, et cela pour vous dire vous êtes la bienvenue. Alors, c'est une chose qui a été fabriquée par nos grands-mères chaque saison de collecte de fleurs. On collecte les fleurs et comme font les grands-mères, elles produisent comme des confitures. Maintenant, il y a une macro-circulation car ce produit a des odeurs qui sont vraiment bonnes et cela propage beaucoup. Et cette huile essentielle est la source d'un parfum qui est vraiment circulé plus largement dans plusieurs marchés. Il y a cette odeur de citron et puis il y a la deuxième odeur d'une autre fleur qui est aussi ressentie.
Aside from the
D'après
flower, the
ces
essential
trois
oil,
composantes,
flower
on peut
water,
parler de
we
l'huile
can also use
essentielle et on peut
extracts from the
aussi
actual
utiliser
tree,
un
which are
extrait de
used
l'arbre réel et qui est
amincissant
utilisé
for
comme
skinning.
un amincissant pour la
And
peau.
this is one of
Et
the,
c'est
it's
un,
a brevet de recherche mondiale. Trying to switch to English.
c'est un brevet de recherche mondiale, c'est-à-dire
It's a brevet de recherche mondiale.
patent.
Gosh, I'm sorry. It's you know when somebody discovers something and they just. I'm sorry. No, it's, you know, there's a big brand, Shiseido, who has one of the slimming creams. Yeah, the skin firming, and this is an ingredient that was براءة اختراع. Yes, thank you very much. My memory gets just stuck. It's a patented ingredient for slimming by Shiseido worldwide, and it's extracted from the tree, the orange blossom tree. Barbarian fig. We go for this one. We have our friend from Mexico who's interested. Oh, hi. And I will translate in Spanish if it's okay for you.
Hola, bueno, sí, soy de México. Lo que quería saber es si ustedes tenían conexiones para una distribución en Latinoamérica y bueno, aprovechando el momento, por ejemplo, la cuestión del cultivo de todas lo que se produce en Morocco, ¿tiene alguna certificación de ser orgánico, de cumplir con, no sé, buenas prácticas?
Tu vas traduire?
Gracias. Enfin, il demande si aujourd'hui, par rapport aux cultures qui sont faites au Maroc, notamment par rapport à l'Afrique de Barbarie, est-ce qu'il y a des labels organiques, bio, qui peuvent accompagner éventuellement des opportunités d'exportation vers le Mexique?
Oui, évidemment. En fait, au Maroc, on retrouve on retrouve des. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so
This is
should
the problem in
should I
Morocco. We
translate
talk
the question?
several languages.
Yeah, the question was if there were any EcoCert, USDA, and other natural certification standards in Morocco so we can export to Mexico. Yes, definitely. We work with different suppliers and companies to certify, depending on the target market. Let's say you're sending to Germany. Germany doesn't believe in USDA, but in Natru. So we will walk the supplier along all the steps to make sure that the production is done up to the standards of the Natru and the logistics, all the steps basically, and the final products, obviously. So yes. You're welcome. Let's talk about hemp oil. Any interest? Yeah? Okay. We all know about hemp oil, I believe. At least we know about marijuana, herb. So that's the... Okay, now we're going to go like, yeah! Why is that? Because obviously we've proven that it has a real interest for anti-pain treatments. and it's been prescribed in different countries for terminal illness treatments, pain management treatments. Now, the regulations have changed in many countries, including in Morocco, because we know that just like any botanical, any herbal source, there is goods and bads. Drugs as well it's a dose dependent. And here we are applying this to hemp oil. Well, obviously, we're not talking about hemp oil that has a CBD percentage above 0.02. We're talking about a level, this is the regulated level in cosmetics as well. This oil has a real interest in hair growth. Yes, I'm not talking out of a clinical study. I'm talking about friends around who have used it. And they were so convinced that this friend came to my office and said, okay, now I'm going to launch a line based on hemp oil. And I said, okay, are you serious? Yeah. This is really interesting and gives very good products. So we started just trying on different friends. And guess what? This gives effects. The oil has a really nice absorbance. It gives, just like all other vegetable oils, some sort of emollients, but it does get a really deep penetration into the skin bulb and skin cells. So definitely an oil that we could advise for hair growth treatments. Also, we have used it in a line for anti-aging. And to be honest, I'm more than convinced. Well, I know it's a little early to talk about it, but seriously, it's I'm talking about as a chemist, as a formulator. This is the kind of oil that doesn't give you a pain in your head when you're working with. Your formula stays fine. It's not turning as far as the smell or color. So it's really interesting. Now there are many reviews about the use, but we don't have clinical studies when it comes to cosmetics. I am sure that in the next 10 years, we will have more and more clinical studies to prove this, because it's only getting regulated these years, so it's still new. But it's definitely something that you can invest on, because I see this happening and growing more and more for the next 5 years. Rose. One of the masterpieces of perfumery. Moroccan rose has a very special, exclusive smell. Not really, we cannot compare it to any other rose from the Mediterranean area. And it's so rare that we actually have to fight over it with the Southern French industry, perfumery industry. Saffron, as I said, is one of the ingredients that has the highest components of antioxidants. The only problem is the price. It's very rare. It's very delicate as far as the agriculture, the harvesting, but it definitely is worth the investment and the use. Well, I think we've gone through all the resources. We still have 5 minutes for questions, if you have any.
Thank you for your presentation. It was really good. So in your experience of working as a chemist, do you see that like essential oils and the natural industry is now getting this recognition, like no synthetic, which is probably not true? Like there's a greenwashing, like just use all natural and synthetics is not good, like this marketing idea. But actually what I know and believe to be true is both natural and synthetics are both good, have good and pros and cons. So what do you think
You want my personal opinion?
Yes.
I think it's not true. I mean, pharmacy comes from botanicals. We started as human beings finding our treatments in herbs, and we started using them. And then we decided, okay, maybe I had too much of this. I'll have a less dose. So we discovered the dose effects link. And then this has moved and evolved into classical pharmacy that we all know of. Now, I have to admit that we are using way too many chemicals, but we cannot just, forget about pharmacy, forget about drugs and chemicals, throw all that, and let's have as many natural products as we want. No, it's not true. Yes, we will want to use natural sourced ingredient, definitely. The less chemistry and processes we can use, the better it is, not only for our health, it's more actually about our environment. But at the same time, just because it's natural, you cannot have all you want out of it. You cannot have, let's take just food, you cannot have plenty of fruits all of a sudden. It's natural, yeah, but it will make you sick still. So it's, for me, it's the same logic. You cannot, just because it's natural, think that it's totally safe. Obviously, the international regulations, it's not the topic now. We'll talk about it just the next presentation. Doesn't make the natural cosmetics are still and under the same regulations. They have to study the toxicological profile. They have to prove their safety, the safety of their use. They have to give all the information about the chemicals. And this is, I don't know, when I've been saying many times, evaluating an ingredient, a natural ingredient. In fact, this term is really taking that ingredient and knowing what is the chemical composition, gross chemical composition of that ingredient. Because just because it's natural, it doesn't mean it's not toxic, or it's not toxic beyond a certain level. So yeah, natural is good. Some synthetic is good as well. A good balance is better.
Hi, thank you for this presentation. I hope I'm not going to make you repeat yourself because I missed the part about the argan oil. But my question kind of follows on to what you were saying. With argan oil, I've seen like the one that's coming from Morocco, very concentrated, dark color, very nutty smell. And then I've seen the ones that they sell sort of in retail, I guess, that's much lighter and it's barely there. And I wanted to ask you about the concentration and sort of also the properties that you want to look for in argan oil to pick the correct formulas for it.
So are you talking about the cosmetic one or the cooking one, the
Cosmetic.
eating one, cosmetic? Yeah. Okay, first, cosmetic one is not supposed to smell naughty. Not naughty, nutty, nuts. Because the nut smell is actually a process. It's a step in the process where we actually put them in an oven and roast the nuts. So this is what gives that smell. The cosmetic one is not roasted. The grain is taken, the almond inside the l'amandon is taken, and it's put into the machine that grounds and extracts the oil directly. Now, the difference in texture, some will be heavier, others will be really light, some will have that smell. It's definitely the process of obtaining it that makes the difference. Historically, little goats climb up the arganier, eat the nut, the fruit, and then the nut comes out from the goats, and that gives the bad smell because there is an enzyme that will break down the fatty acids in the oil and gives a really bad smell. Why? Okay, we're not going to work with this. This is not good for cosmetics. What can we do? Now we grab the fruit, dry it, crack it, take the almond out, put it in the machine. The goat step is Now it's not supposed to smell bad. First one. Second thing is, now we have the oil. It's a cold pressed oil. Let's say I have a target group of clients that want that typical smell. So I'm going to say to my supplier, please do not do any centrifugation, any rotation treatment. Centrifugation. That will give you that really thick one. Or I may be selling in the USA, and in the USA, people do not really like it when they have that really thick and, texture that's not fluid and penetrating all. Okay, do 3 times centrifugation. Now I have a much lighter oil, you see? Or I would go, okay, I want no smell, no color. Now make it go on top of a carbon, gosh. I lost my English, by the way. Ah, vous êtes algérien. Donc, on va faire passer sur une matrice de carbone qui va absorber l'odeur, les molécules odorifères. Et donc, on va avoir une huile qui est claire, super légère, avec aucune odeur. So really now, the process will make the difference of the texture. And generally, it's the request of the client. Any more questions? All right. You have a question? Okay. Thank you.
I told you that she was great. It's really one of our best experts in Morocco. And thank you again for being here. I expect you for the next panel also, because we have a great opportunity also to discuss about what is linked to business opportunities, what the Moroccan administration gives for cosmetics entrepreneurs, and also for social entrepreneurs who want to be involved in this industry. So please stay with us. We will get back within 15 minutes maximum. A cup of tea is here, Moroccan tea, certainly for our friends from Algeria, who are more than welcome. It's a great pleasure to have you with us, guys. And thank you again. Thank you. Thank you, Raja.